Hey Mim.
Hey Scarlett.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to StyleOverSubstance.
We're just two friends talking about our experiences working inside the fashion industry and also our observations from outside the fashion industry. It's sometimes serious, but it's definitely always a good laugh.
Always. We release new episodes every Tuesday.
So subscribe on your favourite podcast listening platforms.
So I actually have a bit of a story to tell you about my day.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the office today, went into work in person.
Oh yeah. Sorry
I know. It was worthwhile. Turn up, police car outside.
Oh, the ghetto.
There'd been a robbery, an attempted robbery. So it's like a shared office space. Mm. One of the offices had been attempted to be broken into. A Range Rover had driven into the glass doors of the building. And there's a central courtyard, so essentially buildings wrapping around a courtyard. They've driven into the courtyard and then reversed into this space which sells Rolexes and Patek Philippe watches and designer goods, like lots of Louis Vuitton, kind of. I don't know if we'd say vintage, but probably not definitely not brand new stock. So probably things that
popular styles, secondhand.
Yeah. And so just turned up and there was just this Range Rover in the courtyard. I'm guessing stolen, because who's risking their Range?
I was going to say, who chooses a Range to ram into
you surely if you're going to go on a heist, you buy like a Fiat Punto or something to knock about. And just in the middle of this courtyard, so there were forensics and police there all day.
I love it.
And I just I thought it was relevant because obviously vintage fashion shop,
that's what we do,
like a real target, like it was a really calculated, targeted crime. So
do you know if they got away with anything? They
didn't. He put stuff in the safe overnight, so they didn't get away with anything. But I think it's quite common in sort of that luxury watch sort of resale or whatever it is shop. I think it's quite common. And he didn't seem that phased, the bloke who runs the shop. I would have been a quaking mess. But yeah.
I mean, it's probably part and parcel with the nature of owning a store like that. You're such a target, especially in watches. And also, over the past year or so, those brands like Patek Philippe's and Rolexes and all of that, the resale value of these watches have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
They're made with such limited runs that the popular stars, people are just going crazy for it. So in this tough economic situation that we are living through, I can understand. Money needs to be made.
It needs to be made. What's your fashion story?
So my fashion story, I don't know if we've mentioned this before last year, but you know the TikToker, incredibly popular TikToker, Carby Lame, and he does the ones where it's like it's almost, he watches this really stupid video or like stupid tutorial, and then he's like
hold up. Oh no,
the one that's like with his hands out, like
I don't know who you're talking about.
You don't know?
How do I not know this? I'm on TikTok all the time.
I don't actually. He doesn't come on my For You page or anything, but I just know him from like outside of TikTok being really incredibly like famous. Like he's basically the second most followed person on at least Western TikTok.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check him out.
And he's got millions of followers. And he always takes these really stupid, you know, those 5-minute craft videos where it's like literally there's a more straightforward way of doing whatever you're trying to do. You kind of satire with that. So a few weeks ago, actually, bearing in mind he's like the second most followed person on the platform, a few weeks ago, a list had been published of the 10 highest paid TikTokers on the platform. And he did not feature. He's the second most followed, but he did not rank within the top 10 most paid. And it was like a prime example of how if you're like a Black creator, like you can have loads of followers but not get paid as much as your counterparts. You get like lowballed basically. And although it wasn't new information, it was a stark example of how underpaid he was basically. And other people who was on the platform who would do the most basic little dances and little shimmies are getting paid like crazy amounts. But this week, Hugo Boss had a show and he was invited. He was at the show and he was like taking pictures, part of their campaign that you've probably seen all these like ads and images that have been floating around social media. And that comes off the back of their last show, him walking as a model for Hugo Boss. And it was really nice to see that. It was like, although he maybe not be getting paid more than all of them, it was nice to see that he's definitely an attractive, tall guy, and he definitely suits modeling. But to have carved out, which could be a solid alternative career and path in modeling, and maybe it can be for other brands, but to be like at the very least an actual brand ambassador is really nice to see. You can see a lot of influencers who partner with brands to do a little ad campaign, but to see that maybe he has a long-term partnership with them is actually quite cool, and I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, on the first part of it, I mean, it's pretty shocking because TikTok is modern, right? You'd expect it to be more modern than...
I mean, they get a lot of criticisms for a number of reasons, but...
Yeah, and also I guess maybe TikTok's not regulating that. I don't know if that is side projects or... I don't think
I don't think it's dictated by TikTok. TikTok aren't paying them. It's more, as I said, it's outside partnerships, it's collaborations.
It's a historic problem.
Yeah.
But I also think that's great that maybe he's playing the slow game as well. If he's got this amazing partnership, hopefully he's kind of being really strategic about what he's accepting, because some people just slog their guts, right? Some people are in it for the sharp, like short and sharp game of, I've probably got 2 years of just flogging any old content, and then I'm just going to have to live off of that because I can't keep that up, and also no one's going to respect me by the end of it. But yeah, I mean, that's really cool, and I think that's really important. We've talked about it before. That's who we want to see now. Our little friend Francoise, or Francis, or however you say it. That is relevant now. I was actually having like meetings about this at work today. It's really important to respond to topical things. That is what our world is now. We don't need to see that same model who's been on the cover of every magazine, walks in every show. We want to see the people we consume. These are celebrities now, you know?
Yeah.
And we should be consuming that. That's why TikTok's so big. We're consuming these people on a daily basis.
And also, I think there's a part of it where our favorite creators, we want to see them do well. When you really enjoy someone's content and you like their personality, you're rooting for them, and you feel like, oh wow, they're doing big things, or they've got this, and you're like, yeah, good for you.
Yeah, and like you said, it says a lot that you were really happy for him when you saw that. I think that's the thing. I don't feel that way if Gigi Hadid walks in a show.
No, I don't care.
But like the underdog, like Francis in that Gucci campaign, you're like, yes, this is amazing.
I love her, an underdog.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So what is your fashion story?
Well, I sort of, I think, have a few. I don't know. I can't not mention the fact that I think my prediction was somewhat that Rihanna's pregnancy style would not be typical. My gosh, is she like even more so than I thought, with like these beaded tops and whatever. She's like living up to our. Do you know what I reckon? She's notoriously one of the most stylish or best dressed people, fashion forward. Do you think she didn't like that Zendaya took that crown for the past year? And she's like, let me show you how it's done, you know?
I think you're right there.
Because like she would have always made the top dress list of anything, and the fact that Zendaya sort of snuck in and she's been the sort of hero, or she was, of 2021. Rihanna's here for the crown for 2022 already.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Zendaya's really been working at it. She's always been there. She's always been great. But it's the I think Rihanna she hasn't been
famous enough, Zendaya, you know, for it to be really recognised.
The presence of Rihanna overshadows. People can go a little bit crazy when it comes to Rihanna on the red carpet. But you're right. She's had some great looks for the past week.
Yeah.
I mean, that baby must be cold, but I'm convinced.
And then I wanted to talk about the halftime show from the Super Bowl. First of all, it was great. It was really different. It was just a lot of collaborative efforts. It wasn't just sort of one artist doing a set. But what struck me is that the only person wearing sort of like a show outfit was the woman.
Yeah.
And like, don't get me wrong, she looked great. But that we had 50 Cent in his sort of his typical vest, white vest, black trousers, Dr. Dre, all black, nice bomber jacket type thing. Snoop Dogg, he had a bit of a fun outfit.
Yeah, he made an effort.
But he kind of dresses like that anyway. He's got like that. He's so tall and lanky that he can pull off that kind of a thing, and he does.
His vibe is a cool boy, chill. Yeah.
And it was still essentially a bit like a tracksuit, but just a flamboyant one. And then Eminem with a hoodie and whatever. And then you have Mary J. Blige with like a J-Lo outfit.
Yeah. I think, of course, I agree. The women always...
don't get me wrong, she will have wanted to look like that.
Of course, that's the typical Mary look.
Yeah.
I think that you're right in that women either want to or kind of are obliged to, for the sake of their career, to have these amazing outfits. If she turns
up in jeans and like a vest,
she gets slaughtered.
They'd be like, what?
Yeah. But I will put a little caveat in there that I think it depends on the music genre that men are part of. For example, if it was Usher, I think Usher would have given us a sparkly jacket or something.
And Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. So if you're from that like more R&B vibe, I think like and you dance, I think that's key. If you're a dancing male performer, you come out with some like
Michael Bublé would be in a suit. Like, I guess that's true. And I know that it's part of the vibe. I still think actually Kanye would have been serving some looks.
With a mask, yeah.
I mean, do we even need to talk about this? I just can't. I love it so much. Not his fashion choices, just his Instagram cohort.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I don't know. It's striking, isn't it? But then also, I get quite dressed up for work at the moment because I enjoy that, and that's my place to wear. Well, I only go in currently once a week, so that's when I sort of wear my sort of
nicer stuff, I suppose,
more sophisticated stuff, maybe. And I don't know. I wouldn't call it peacocking because I'm not doing it to look a certain way in terms of take me seriously, but it's my sort of like performance of this is Scarlett in the office.
Yeah.
But at home, you could equally find me just in a matching tracksuit. So yeah, I think it's a confidence thing probably for her to wear that, and that's her stage outfit, it's her stage persona. Her hair extensions or whatever were not good enough.
I haven't actually watched it, so I
need to watch it in the entirety. It just looks thin.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah. But it was long, so maybe it has to look thin if it's long.
Yeah, it would be quite heavy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it was cool. It was cool. I would have loved to be there. I spent the whole thing being like, I want tickets to go see her. I want tickets to go see Eminem, which is exactly what I want you to do.
It's true. That's true.
But yeah.
I did see on my, timeline that Mugler had custom design. Did you see that?
I was going to talk about this. I forgot. The Jimmy Choo Mugler collab.
Oh, no, but that is also great.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah. And really great timing to sort of remember him and keep his legacy going. True. Yeah.
I would definitely get a pair of those boots.
Oh my God, love them. Yeah.
Where am I going with those boots? I don't know. Exactly. So they designed this custom piece for Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, what, for her tour?
Yeah.
That it was like the catsuit.
Yeah, with the rhinestones on. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was great.
And I like seeing that. I think we've seen that before. I'm sure. I know was it Valentino did an Adele tour or something? I'm sure that someone else has done like a Katy Perry tour, maybe probably Moschino or Moschino. Yeah, I kind of love that.
I think Moschino did a lot of Katy Perry.
I think it's really nice. Like we talked in the Kanye episode, like it's all art. When music meets fashion, I just think it makes so much sense. So that's really cool.
But Mugler has done a number of tour things. Like for example, I think they've done one for Beyonce when she had that motorcycle bustier thing.
Yeah.
And Balmain did Beyonce's Coachella or Baychella outfits.
Baychella.
Yeah. And yeah, so it's normal in that sense for a big designer to collaborate with a big artist and create something that's unique for them, because it's an extension of the runway, isn't it?
Yeah,
like the red carpet, let's say.
And also it's one of the few times that they're going to repeat that outfit for the duration of a show, so it's actually really, you're going to see it a lot, and
for the tour and stuff. Yeah, it's true.
It's quite worthwhile.
I did think for the Mugler piece, because you dance and sing on stage and you wear it for every night or for every time you have a performance. There's
got to be a few of them.
There must be, because what if you put your foot through the mesh?
But it's also just going to stink.
Yeah, that's true. Because you can't dry clean it every night, can you?
No. You'd have to give it a little, probably like spritz with a deodorant or something.
Yeah, but also when they do like residencies and they have a matinee performance and an evening performance, that's 2 in one day.
Yeah, we'll have to ask Adele about that when that happens.
When she's on our podcast next week.
Oh man. So yeah, I think that's my fashion stories. We interrupt this broadcast to say, go follow us on Instagram. Our handle is @StyleOverSubstance pod. There you'll find our weekly fashion topics, all the stuff that we discuss in each episode, and our polls.
Or reach out to us at StyleOverSubstancePodcast@gmail.com for new suggestions of topic discussions, or even to share your own fashion stories. We also have a YouTube channel, Style Over Substance Podcast, if you'd rather listen to our episodes over there.
Back to the episode.
talking about fashion and aging in the spirit of my past birthday, and also
your past birthday.
Yeah, well, when this comes out, yeah. And also our joint years, 30 years of being on this earth. It's a big year for those born in 92.
Yeah.
So we thought that, you know what, a new chapter of our lives. How does this make us reflect on our relationship with clothes, what we see for our fashion choices in the future, and my favorite bit, what terrible outfits I have worn in the past.
Oh man.
So yeah, what would you, I think we've discussed this a number of times. How do you see your relationship with clothes at the moment?
I definitely have noticed, and I don't know if this is just being in my late 20s, because I'm not there yet, guys. I've got the 2 months. I'm holding on. I don't know if it's that you're naturally just earning obviously a bit more money than you were in your early 20s, but I can feel that, or if it's just a more conscious thing, or if it's the way the world is going, I can feel that shift a little bit away from fast fashion and more about investing or being prepared to invest in something a bit more. And even I can feel myself factoring, okay, so I'm this clothing size now, but I'm spending quite a lot of money on this. So maybe I'll size up.
Yeah.
Because I want to still be able to wear it in 5 years because it's costed more than a fast fashion piece. And I can feel myself factoring in that, you know, you don't tend to like stay the same size your whole life, your whole adult life. And I can feel myself factoring that in, and also just being more drawn to investing in stuff, or thinking probably twofold. I don't have kids. I don't have that kind of responsibility. So that if I'm gonna spend a bit more money on stuff, this might be my chance to do that. I don't know if it's that, or if it's just sort of that.
So what's those brands that you buy into that are your, like, the ones that you've upgraded to, let's say?
I definitely love And Other Stories. I'd say that's a bit more of it's a slightly more expensive high street shop than Zara or Topshop. I love And Other Stories, and actually their sales are fantastic.
They are good, yeah.
They last a long time, and also it's not like things don't sell out super quick, so you can really also consider your purchase, which I think is important.
It's also down to the price as well,
and it's a good saving. It's a good saving. And then I've done a bit of Karen Millen, more for maybe like shoes or an occasional dress. I like Rixo, but it's a bit expensive. But as an odd thing, I don't know. It's just more. I think it's this January. I was like, there are brands I love, like Rixo, Reformation. I like All Saints. But if you scour the internet in January, sort of save on to some of those pennies that you're willing to spend or part ways with for those January sales, you can get those brands that you sort of wouldn't necessarily buy full price.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite an exciting thing. I love Ganni or
Ganni. I think
Ganni. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I could see myself. Don't get me wrong. It's nice having lots of clothes. But I already have lots of clothes. And so I think it's more thinking about what you get. But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of things you said. My relationship with clothes is that, yeah, I have a lot of clothes, like you said.
Yeah.
I really like to shop. And I'm currently in a no-buy year, my second attempt of one. I think the first one lasted maybe 6 months.
Which is impressive.
but I'm at a point in my life where I'm actively trying to control my relationship with buying clothes, and the speed at which I go through them. So that's definitely been a big shift for me in my late 20s. I will also say for the past year or so that I veer more towards darker colors. I've made like a conscious choice to buy more not as complicated things, or things that I think are more uniform, like a more uniform wardrobe, let's say. I'm trying to buy into similar sort of looking things, not in a boring way, because I don't want, what's the point in buying new clothes?
And you don't have a boring sense of style.
And then thanks. But just stuff that maybe
it's not sexy, but
it's
inside joke.
I think we can get into that later, to be honest. I think that's another point we can discuss. But yeah, just thinking like, does this go with multiple other things in my wardrobe? Now, normally I don't care about that sort of thing. I like to buy things that I like.
Yeah.
But I am, as you said, conscious, like I want to be able to wear this in a few years' time.
Yeah.
That suits me and how I like to dress. And hopefully that continues in the same way. And
so what shops do you start looking to for more sort of timeless or uniform pieces?
So as you said, I do try to buy stuff I consider quote unquote better quality, but you know, Zara gets me. Gets me every time. But the brands I like Whistles. I used to work for Whistles, so I think when you've worked for a brand, it kind of initiates you into like
soft
buying
spot,
into and so I like Whistles. Their coats are very warm. Also, you can always get a bargain on Brand Alley, guys out there, if you want something that's a lot cheaper than the normal price. And Other Stories has great jumpers.
Love their knitwear.
And knitwear and stuff like that. Other brands that I like. I'm trying to look at my wardrobe now. Well, also other brands that I've worked for, like Coach. I've bought like stuff from them as well in the sale, as you said. But I'm like, I know this is a nicer quality because or even if it's not a more expensive brand, it's just like, for the longest time also, I'm someone who, before I buy it, I look at what it's made from. I have to know, what is this made from, just so I can anticipate what the quality might be like. So that's how
wear and tear of it.
And then I veer more towards like black, brown colors. I think that's a way that I try to like shop with a bit more intention. You know what I mean? And also, for the past few years, I have given up buying swimwear and bikinis, things for a holiday when I have no holiday booked. That's been like something that I consciously do. Like, I can see like great swimwear and caftans and all of that, but I know I'm not going anywhere.
And also, in this country, swimwear's not used all that much, so the swim that you bought for your previous holiday is probably still okay. If not more than okay.
You wore it for a week last year and that was it.
Exactly. And I'm sure you had more than one swimsuit or bikini, so so I have a question for you, because with your no spend, have you found, I think the problem often when you buy lots of stuff, and I've definitely tried to slow that down myself, is then you start to fall out of love with existing clothes because you like and want to wear your newer clothes.
Okay.
So have you found that because you're buying less and shopping less, that you aren't getting fed up of your existing clothes as much?
I think that's a really good point. I, in part, am doing a no spend so that I can utilize what I already own more. So that was something that I was conscious of as I was going into a no buy. But I am someone who also does declutter my wardrobe at least like once a year. So I can hand on my heart say that I've gone through everything I own at this point, because I moved house a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I went through everything at that point, like every item. And I don't like to move with like redundant shit.
Yeah.
So I know that everything I own,
has a place.
I have no intention of like letting go of at this point. So I still like my stuff.
That's
so
good.
That hasn't been really a problem for me. Now, do I wish or fantasize now about having a walk-in wardrobe? Yes, often.
Yeah, same.
A lot. The ultimate.
I think this is an Instagram problem though as well. I consume sort of Real Housewives, but now there are people, like there are influencers that, because they have succeeded in influencing, have enough fortune for walk-in wardrobes, all of that.
You just need a spare room.
I know, but it's, you know, not needing that either for a brood or for guests.
Yeah,
you know.
True. Yeah, it's a luxury to have, isn't it?
I'm telling you now. I'm on the quest, and it will happen at some point in my life. I'm putting it out there.
Yeah, put it out there.
More because I think at the moment I really have a confined space, and it isn't doing my wardrobe the justice of me knowing what's in it. I've got a lot of bags from my bag designing that I want to see them, and it would be so nice because at the moment they're sort of at the top of my wardrobes. I've got to get on a little footstool to reach them. They're in their dust bags because I'm looking after them, but it would be so nice to have them in a way that I could quickly grab one to use it for the right occasion. But at the moment it's almost like I get one down and that'll be my bag for the month.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of a thing. But yeah,
I think seeing what you have, I'm at this stage where, like, don't get me wrong, I want to buy clothes.
Yeah,
I have like a wish list, but I'm like, wouldn't it be nice if like everything was like steamed and hanging up and all my shoes were on shelves where I could see everything, and then I would get even more use out of stuff.
And you can put together or envisage outfits better. Yeah. One day we'll get there.
It will happen.
Just needs to be a box room as well. It doesn't need to be much.
No, it doesn't need to be much. And you can use those IKEA packs
of wardrobes. I'm there.
Everyone's buying those IKEA packs.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell me a bit about your style as a teenager and in your early 20s, those uni days. Because I think we came about our uni phase and our like teenage phase came about at a time when online shopping was a thing. Before that, buying clothes online was not
a thing. You had to go into a shop.
Yeah. And off the back of that, things like ASOS that's when ASOS came about, really. And it targeted
my
student
generation. Loan went to a lot of things.
Who didn't spend all their student loan in the first week?
On ASOS.
And then so like we were of that age and those sorts of brands were targeting us. And I think also clubwear became a category in a way that it wasn't before.
So I still have so much what I would call clubwear. The very bodycon, like a bodycon skirt that you wear sort of with a body or a t-shirt, whatever, a top. I have got so much form-fitting stuff that I wouldn't now wear unless I was going out. Going out. But obviously at uni that happened so often that you would get aware of it. And then I think I was sort of trained into buying it for that stuff, kind of going out with friends in London shortly after uni. And slowly friends have dispersed because they're either trying to settle down and no one can afford to live in London, or they've sort of migrated back to sort of where their family's from or where they grew up. And so those occasions happen fewer. And also the dress code is somewhat diminished.
It's changed, yeah.
The style is jeans and a nice top. That's,
before, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, before is like people used to go out, like say my brother's generation, like used to go out in trainers, tracksuits. Like you might have a really cool Versace shirt, but you would wear it with like your jeans or something. It was more like high-low, you know? Yeah. And then when like my sister and myself and like you, we were at uni, it was hyper glam. It was 6-inch heels. It was bodycon. It was
bodycon.
We were trying to emulate Kim Kardashian in her early days, you know? And then now, as you said, like the generation now is, you can definitely pull off going to a club and being like the fashion girl. And when I say that, it's like you could be wearing mum jeans, effortless type of effortless, carefree sort of type of fashion. Like you've thought about what you're wearing, it's cool, but it's not like I'm wearing peep toe 6-inch heels.
Yeah, that's so true. And actually, I think that I need to probably day-to-day fashion is so different. I mean, it's a shame because I do love a skinny jean, but I also think that lockdown has made me just really never really want to wear them.
Skinny jeans are the devil, and I've been trying to convince everyone.
No, I've got some mum jeans. I love them. I live in them, but they're not sexy. It's like it's never going to show off. I might not have this figure for that long, and I'm saying that I'm not like the perfect figure by any means.
She has a great figure, guys. I've spoken about this on a number of occasions on this podcast.
But I'm just so aware that at some point I won't have the confidence to wear skinny jeans because I'm going to have more of a gut or whatever. But I just can't sit in those things all day or whatever. Yeah. But I would even say going out 5 years ago, it would have either been skinny jeans or like sort of leather look leggings and a sheer top or like a blouse or something like that. And I would have a vest top or something underneath. I'm not a hussy. I'm joking. You can wear whatever you want.
She is a hussy.
I am a hussy. But that would probably be my uniform. Now, I really like flares at the moment for my going out trousers.
Okay.
But yeah, I just think it's just really different, but also it's kind of cooler to dress down and it's difficult. And actually, I feel like I have a proposal for you in this. That you're one of the few people that I know who still likes to every now and then just like get dressed up.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like every now and then we just have to go for a dinner and get sort of dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
Because so many of my...
We'll do that in April for your birthday.
Yeah, so many of my friends will be... You sort of think, oh, we're going to get dressed up here. But you turn up and you feel like, I'm the most dressed up here. And I'm not even that dressed up.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need to wear my bodycon, but I want to sort of feel like I'm not out of place. Yeah. So I think it is really different. It's really different. And actually, I do need to cull some of that bodycon stuff because the reality is...
Everyone needs a bit of Eve Leger.
But the reality is I don't need that much of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you think your style has changed?
Well, I guess, yeah, my lifestyle has changed. I used to love, and to be honest, if I lived somewhere hot, I think I still would be rocking the party dress thing.
Yeah. I think it suits a tan. It suits
not having to wear a coat.
Yeah.
Wearing...
There is nothing worse than getting dressed nicely and just trying to find what coat looks the least like the least
puffer
awful
jacket are you going to wear on the bus?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that to really
No.
Yeah, so sorry, what was the question again?
How's your style changed sort of over the years that you can
okay. I used to wear a lot... I think I just used to wear a lot of shameless things when I was growing up as like a kid or as like a teenager. And I think this is a blessing. My parents never really told us that we couldn't wear things.
Yeah.
So if I had like an idea of what I was going to wear and I thought it was the shit, like my parents would buy it for me or they would encourage me. Like, do you know what I mean? So I ended up wearing a lot of stuff that was like, I look back and I'm like, God, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
But it was like when I was a kid, it was like experimental. You know, you wear stuff that looks ridiculous, but kid, and you're in your early teens, and that's what it's about, isn't it? So I think I used to like try and wear things that would like clash, or like I used to think would clash in like a good way.
Yeah, same. It didn't.
More colors, brighter, and then when I was at uni, I think I've always liked things which are like a bit bohemian. I think I have a soft spot for that. And I also, very niche, I have a soft spot for like things that are like wealthy older woman aesthetic. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love a brooch. If someone wears brooches, I'm like, yes, man, so niche. Or like, you know me, I love big earrings. I love jewelry. I love those statement things, which gives me the vibe of like when I'm in my 70s and my 80s in my penthouse apartment,
sat with all your jewels on.
Yeah, like oh my god, like Scarlett, your aunt who lives in Spain.
Oh my god, yes. I love that you remember that.
Yes, man. Living the life of like getting dressed up.
Yeah.
For no reason, because you own it. You think it makes you look nice, and it's like, well, why the hell not? So I don't know. It's that sort of like indulgent aspect that I've always kind of liked. But I think now I'm less doing the clashy thing, and maybe just like doing like bold pieces. I don't know. That's in my head. That's where I feel like I've chilled out a bit.
Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it? Because looking back on past fashion, I have so many regrets. Like prom dresses, why was I wearing those things?
No, your prom dresses were good.
No, they weren't.
The one that you made one.
I made one, and like that was a great effort, sure. But my hair, the way I styled myself was bad. I'd sort of dyed reddish tinge in my hair at that point. It was ungodly long, like it looked dead. I don't know if I discovered eyebrow pencil.
I don't think anyone knew about eyebrow pencil.
The one before that was sort of a bright burnt orange, and I was Casper the Ghost. It didn't help that everyone I went to prom with, sort of in the photos in the limo, cringe, had fake tanned, and I hadn't got that memo. And I was so pale, and I had this big bold belt on, and I know that was cool at the time.
Big belts, the thick ones,
it's funny because I look at your dress that you wore for
which one, the first or second
floral one? The first.
The first one.
I still think that's cool.
You know what? I like the dress.
80s chic, the way you had quite like your hair was kind of curly, the way you pinned it up. It looked 80s chic.
No, it did look a bit 80s chic, but that was not what I was going for.
But it's cool.
No, but also when I think of that dress, it's not that I don't like it, but I realise I don't have the bust, the sweetheart strapless necklines.
I think you do though, because you don't want like your boobs falling out.
You want some cleave though, don't you? Some cleavage.
Not when you're like 60.
I mean, come on. We were all trying to be like mini women.
Yeah, we're all trying to make something be seen.
I look at that and I'm like, not bad, could have been worse, but maybe it wasn't for me. I don't know.
But maybe that's what we all think about. So I think we grew up in a time where it's so different from now, that there wasn't much style advice around. Fashion magazines, that wasn't for us. It was pitched at an older level.
Yeah.
The famous celebrities were older than us. So we were just sort of, I don't know, you just sort of wore such a hodgepodge.
And also the inspiration that we did get to see, celebrities like on their like off-duty celebrities, they weren't that well dressed as they are now. They weren't. They didn't have stylists like 24/7 stylists, and then we never got to see a lot of examples of normal people styling themselves. Whereas now, social media is
Instagram
with normal people just with great sense of style.
Yeah.
You weren't exposed to that before.
And also that was when celebrities were like jeans on the red carpet, the amount of layering that was going on. That I think that's one of my the things I regret the most is the things I used to layer. Like you said, I would think, oh, this is a really cool clash. Yeah. And it wasn't great.
Can you describe some pieces, individual pieces that really just make you retreat?
I remember they were both from Primark because it was the thing that you would spend £10 on Primark and get 11 things. It was like this lime green long sleeve top.
That sounds quite nice.
With like black stripes on them, really thin black stripes. Mm-hmm. And then I think I put like a cobalt blue thing on top. And then probably like a black dress over the top of that. Mm-hmm. And it just, I just remember just lots of layering. And I was really pale as well. I couldn't take much colour. Like, I think in hindsight, I hadn't really been exposed to the sun at that point. I don't know. I guess also my now preference is me with a bit of a tan or my freckles being a bit more out. Mm-hmm. So it's also just that preference of that. But it just looked so clumsy. And just not thought out. But I know I would have. I know I would have been like, that looks really cool. Lots of over accessorizing sort of with hats. I don't know.
Because layering was a big thing. So, you have to be kind to yourself because that probably looked great at the time.
Yeah, I know. And actually I used to also do lots of sort of color blocking. I think my mum probably had quite a safe sense of fashion. It was that thing of if you wore a khaki top, you had a matching khaki hoodie or cardigan to wear with it. Yeah. And then maybe you had a darker shade of khaki trousers, but you sort of had outfits that would be worn together. And I remember like my first boyfriend be like, I think you dress really well. What was he thinking?
Oh, you know what? That sort of those like compliments can encourage you to do nonsense. And you probably thought to yourself, I need to keep dressing like this.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my first pair of skinny jeans, and when skinny jeans first came out, and they weren't as skinny as they are now, they probably would be called straight jeans. I used to wear that a lot. And I'd always have a top and sort of a matching hoodie to wear. And ballet slippers. I actually wish ballet slippers were cool now, or I would suit them. I don't think I would suit them now, but I used to love my ballet slippers.
No, I think you'd suit them. I think they're uncomfortable, but they are for people who can pull off like quite delicate pieces.
I don't think I dress that delicate anymore. Yeah. I think I probably got a bit sort of grungier. I always used to like the sort of Avril Lavigne baggy trousers, seat belt type belt.
Yeah.
But I think I've always had that sort of grungy thing, or if I'm dressing too girly, I try and make it less girly. But I don't know, style's funny because I'm sure you feel the same. If you put a week's worth of looks together, it's a very different personality on a lot of the days sometimes.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Like there'll be more a girly look, and then it'll be like, a denim boiler suit. And then it's just, I guess different moods, different styles, different occasions. But what would you like your style to be going for? Like, so the next milestone is 40.
Oh yeah, I'm
where do you see your style when you're 40?
Probably the same as now. Like, I'm not trying to age too quickly, I'd like to still retain a bit of my essence now.
You're not wearing mini skirts, to try and stay youthful.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like it would be really weird for me to still wear the same stuff. yeah, I think I would like to think I've got a better collection of handbags, let's just say, like,
Yes.
Why not? I'm hoping that, I'll have the funds for all of that. Yeah, just probably charging full steam ahead into my old lady, rich lady aesthetic, hopefully. Don't know.
I love that.
Yeah. What do you want to do more of in terms of fashion for the next 10 years? It's such a broad question because who are we going to be in the next 10 years? Who knows?
Yeah, and it's a difficult one because I almost hope that I stop planning the fantasy fashion in my head. We've talked about this loads before of, I've got this dress that imagine that one time, that one place, a bit like how you said with holiday fashion. You're like, I can imagine it. Stop doing that and buy the dress or buy the outfit when the event is needed. Or I have enough of a collection to sort of dive into those classics, that nice dress for this or that. Because the reality is those events don't happen that often.
Yeah. I am hoping I can still fit into all my stuff, because that would really put a spanner in the works, wouldn't it? If half my stuff is unwearable.
So I not once heard an influencer that I follow who's got a really nice shoe collection. Her foot size changed after she was pregnant.
Did it go back to normal?
I don't think so. And it was maybe only a size, but she had loads of lovely Gucci shoes. She had loads of beautiful heels. And I don't have many designer shoes, but I'd like to think in the next 10 years, I would have one or two nice pairs.
Yeah.
If you're spending like £500, £600 on a pair of shoes, and then tragic. A baby means I don't fit in them, I need that money back from my kid.
Oh god. Because also shoes is that one area where you're like, I'm not gonna grow out of this.
Yeah. Like shoes and bags, you're kind of like, well, this is forever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think I'd like to envisage being more realistic. I think the beautiful and the fun things to buy are heels, nice dresses, but I kind of hope that changes into, oh my god, I love that. I do like knitwear, but like, oh, that's an amazing jumper. I'm going to be able to wear that for the next 10 years because it's such good quality. Or getting maybe a nicer pair of jeans because I've stayed the same size for the last 4 years. Or I think investing in the everyday.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier to invest in the exciting. And I think the reality is you don't wear that stuff nearly as much anyway. So
yeah. And I think what you wear every day defines how you view your own personal style and how, I'm sorry, my throat. and how other people view your sense of style. It's like continuity, like what you most seen in. And I mean, it sounds so contrived, and it is, but if you are the sort of person who struggles with a sense of personal style or what you like, and you feel like, oh, I just wear whatever's on trend, then it's about concentrating on what you wear day in, day out. That is like your style, isn't it?
Yeah, so definitely.
It's worth spending on that, I think. Yeah. What I would say is that recently we're seeing more and more quote unquote mature models, older models. And I think over the past few years, it's really changed and shifted how we view growing old with fashion. What's kind of like your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. And actually thinking about it, I think we're probably fortunate in a lot of ways. I know when we were growing up, we felt like the guinea pigs for so many things in school, different things when it came to applying to uni. We just felt like the generation of the guinea pig, sort of with internet stuff, social media. But I think a good thing is that we were probably one of the first generation where supermodels were still famous as they got older. Kate Moss, still relevant now. Naomi Campbell on the cover of a magazine with her kid this month or this week. Cindy Crawford, still famous. We still idolize these women who were the supermodels of the 90s. And I don't think that used to be a thing. And so I think that's a great example for one of us not just forgetting about women after a certain age. I think they're powerful enough people to sort of be like, I'm not going anywhere. And I think that's happening a bit more as well with film actors and actresses, that parts don't just suddenly dry up after a certain age. We're not only watching film like teen films or rom-coms where they're all the same age. You can enjoy a love story where two people find each other at 70. You know, Meryl Streep is still at the top of her game. And I think that's a really exciting thing for us to be able to look at that, because it's still relevant. And then that means magazines need to show us styles like that, or we're going to see what Meryl wears on the red carpet. And I think it's important. And yeah, I think that's only going to improve. And I think that the older fashion actually is amazing. I think that it's not celebrated enough. I think you could be so much more carefree. I definitely see so many stylish older ladies where I live, where I aspire to be them, because they're maybe wearing really a chic outfit but got sort of a zebra print coat on, but you can tell it's a nice coat and it just looks really cool. I think our concept of age has shifted dramatically in the past like 30 years, 40 years or something. Like, what we consider to be middle-aged is not middle-aged anymore. No.
What is middle-aged? I think about that all the time. Like, what is middle-aged?
Is
it when I'm mid-40s or 50 or what?
I would almost call it 60s now, because when we were younger, 60 sounded like you're
nearly retiring.
You're entering dementia zone. You're entering sort of perishing. However,
Christ, Scarlett.
No, and I don't
perish.
I don't mean that awfully, but it kind of conjured up frail, jet white hair. Both our parents are in their 60s, or your dad might even be older.
My dad's in his 70s.
My parents still have their marbles. When I grew up, I thought that wouldn't be the case at 60, because you just sort of, we had a warped thing, or I mean, I thought I'd feel older than I do at this age when I was a kid. But I would say they're now at the point where they've got kids that are grown, and their life is sort of can have more going on, that it's nowhere near.
It's like a new chapter. It's not the end. It's just the beginning of a different one.
And maybe it's not quite middle, as in it's not the midpoint of their lives, but I would still say they've still got a lot going on. So I think, I think when we were younger, maybe that age seemed old, but as time goes on, it's not. And people are just so active, and I think we're including older generations in more. There's more opportunity, there's more possibility. First of all, retirement age is moving. But I just think there's more going on, and we're just not ruling people out quickly. And I think, I don't know, it's exciting.
I agree. Like, there was a phase, I remember, of people who were older and had like jet white hair. It was more like a stylish thing. It was like, wow, all their hair went white all in one go. And it's like this, you have the silver fox. There were more women who were allowing their hairs to just go grey. And it was almost like a fashion statement or an accessory to their look. And we see more and more women who are older, who have amazing senses of style.
They don't dress like a grandma.
They don't dress like a grandma, but they don't dress like really young, like you know, like a teenager. They're in that middle sweet spot that just dresses like cool and effortless, and like either pieces they've owned for years, or they just have I think you get a more defined sense of what you want to wear and what you like and what suits you, and like that's probably to their advantage, or as you get older, it's to your advantage. And I think just seeing that has encouraged more and more people of a certain age to be like, why I don't have to dress fuddy-duddy at that age.
I don't have to wear an ankle-length pleated skirt and a blouse, which is sort of what my great-grandparents, I feel like that's what they wore when I was about 4 or 5.
I mean, being 40 and 50 was old.
Yeah.
Before. And it's just not that anymore.
No.
It's I even struggle to say that my parents are elderly.
Yeah.
My dad's in his 70s, and it's only now that I'm like, is he elderly? And my parents have bus passes. And
but then it makes you realise that's madness. Like, that's how I feel when I was like, I've got my bus pass, I'm retired, I'm a pensioner. I'm like, no, you're not though. You're not.
So I think also this year we've seen older actors and actresses walking runways alongside the young'uns, and it's interesting because when it comes to fashion, and particularly luxury fashion, those who can afford it are not young. Those who can buy into it and buy it consistently and regularly enough are older, in their
true
40s, probably their 50s, 60s, 70s upwards, when they've just got all this disposable income, or they've accumulated wealth and whatnot. And it's funny that for so long luxury fashion has been targeted at the generational, the age cohort that just can barely survive, just figuring out what they want to do with life. And I mean, that's another thing, like luxury fashion now, we see more and more young people own more and more luxury, which is weird in itself, but it makes sense that fashion brands and how we feel about clothing and how we feel about dressing ourselves is beginning to favor older people now, because you know, that's who's got the money to spend it and who has a better idea of what they want to wear. So
so true. And sort of touching on with what we mentioned earlier, I definitely, so for context for listeners, we were joking with a friend of ours that we don't think that we dress attractive to the opposite sex. And this is very general sweeping, but for sure, I think my day-to-day, maybe more my office attire, but again, I still think they'd probably just prefer it to be a bit simpler. Sometimes it's probably a bit out there. I don't know. I would say I don't dress the way a guy would choose for me to dress. So I don't have a Mr. Big in my life, but I have brothers. They would not choose my clothes that I wear.
Yeah.
And that's not because I'm dressing seductively. They wouldn't choose it because they would probably, I think my brother even the other day was like, oh, you know, you've got a kind of like a different sense of style.
It's like funky.
Yeah.
Like quirky. That word, quirky.
And I kind of want to be like, do you want to know what quirky is? Quirky is like half a shaved head. And, you know, that's what I think quirky is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty safe still. But you thought the same, that Mr. Big would not choose your clothes. And do you think that's because style now isn't bodycon? So do you think because the bodycon thing maybe is sort of in the past, it's not really as fashionable these days either? Do you think that's sort of like, you know, we're not showing off our figures? Do you think it's that? Or what do you think it is that makes is it getting older? What is it that you think?
I think I've always been prone to wearing things that I want to wear in the most like self-absorbed way possible.
But that's how you're meant to dress, right?
No, of course, yeah. And things that I think is cool and just like wanting. Oh, God,
it's fine.
Hear him die in the background. I'm recording here. No, yeah. So I've always just been really interested in wearing things that I want to wear, and just blind to a certain extent, like a blind like confidence in like, yeah, this looks all right, isn't it? And then later on realizing that it doesn't. So I think, yeah, I've always had that unawareness of what maybe guys would rather see me in. But in part also because I'm not like out in the club and like wearing bodycon. You're right. I like that stuff. Is it for me now to be wearing all the time? No, but it's not that I don't like it. It's just like I don't have reason to wear those things anymore. So I think that really and truly, if you're someone who likes fashion and you like to wear different things, then you like to experiment or be slightly more experimental. And I just don't think that works for the opposite sex. I'm talking about heterosexual like relationships.
I think that word is exactly right, of experimental. I know there's loads of stuff that I have that's like a plain black dress or a really safe option where I'm like, that's great. But I also like, I know that there are things where I'm like, that's a bit of a risk to wear that, but I'm willing to take that risk. And I know it wouldn't be attractive to someone else necessarily. And yeah, if what I would wear on a first date would probably be quite different to what I'd wear on a fifth date. I'd probably keep it a bit safer for that first one, and then slowly but surely be like, a little,
yeah. And also, I've never been someone who does the tits and ass thing, because like I don't really have much tits, and it just, like, do you know what I mean? It's not you lead with your assets, and that's not my
mine is my personality.
Yeah. No, but I think when I think there's something to be said about that, actually, to get deep about it. You know how some people in school, they're like the classically beautiful, get all the attention because they have tits and ass, or because they're like blonde hair, blue eyes, or they have petite features or whatever. They have that classic look, and they can rely on, when you watch RuPaul's Drag Race and they're like, don't rely on that body. Like that. And so some people end up going that route. Fair play to them, like that suits them. But if you feel in yourself that like you don't necessarily have all that that like stereotypical assets or like look about you, you're more likely to veer off in other directions whereas you dress in a way that you think is more like flattering to you. So you might wear baggy stuff because having tight bodycon stuff doesn't matter to you because it maybe doesn't suit you, or you think that you have like a slightly better personality or whatever, so you don't rely on wearing that stuff that's typically sexy. Does that make sense?
I feel like if I were to therapize myself, I wonder if the experimental thing is because I've probably got, I feel like you've once described my sense of humor as quirky or a bit different. I'm probably trying to express my sense of humor or my personality in the way that I dress. So I'm not just someone who's sort of like a cutesy personality. Yeah. So I kind of want to show that, there's a little bit of a different undertone to my sense of humor, so I'm going to reflect that in my clothing. I wonder if there's an element of portraying it externally, because I definitely don't feel like myself in certain things. I and even finding that, I know we've discussed before about trying to find dresses for weddings. I've got one of my good friends' weddings coming up, and it felt so important to me that I still felt like myself, because of course you can wear a beautiful dress and get dolled up and try and look the nicest you can look, but I wanted to look back and feel like I felt like myself.
Yeah. And I think being a bridesmaid is a classic example of where you can look weird because you look very generic, and it's not like to say everyone's special and everyone looks different and there's a spark in all of us, and that can shine through, but you don't want to look like you've come out of a bridal catalog where all the bridesmaids look like carbon copies and they're all wearing dresses that don't suit them, but the bride wanted them to wear it, so just shut up and wear it. Bridesmaid dresses can look really dodgy for that reason.
So true.
Yeah.
But so hopefully we're going to stay unsexy dresses.
Yeah, man.
And just keep rocking what I think I can only imagine the confidence grows. But to be honest, I don't think I've ever not been confident with clothes. I've always thought that I was dressing well.
The shit, yeah. And because may that rain.
Because we've always enjoyed our clothes, both of us. So I think we've probably always been like, yeah, and just excited about it. I think that's a nicer way to be. I'd rather regret a few outfits.
Yeah, you got to live a little. You've got to be able to look back and laugh and be like, that was terrible, but I wore it anyway. And I think going back to the sexy thing is that it sounds cliche, but as long as you feel genuinely confident in what you're wearing at the time, and that is like the best way to be, because you can wear like ridiculous things, but be really confident and pull it off and it looks great, as opposed to wearing stuff which is quote unquote sexy and you
wearing a bodycon and feeling self-conscious, or like, you know, how does your tummy look after you just had that meal?
Yeah,
obviously different than when before you ate.
And I think probably like aging, getting older and finding yourself more and all that stuff is part of the process of recognizing like it's okay, I don't have to look sexy. I don't, because what's the point? Half of these guys aren't sexy.
I've got the personality. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm funny enough to compensate.
Yeah. It's true though, like I think probably if you're definitely into fashion and stuff, then you could probably like write yourself off as like unsexy.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, I think that fashion, as you age and get older and your life changes and stuff, you have to be willing to like throw out the old stuff, have fond memories of it, and move on to a different chapter. And isn't that what clothes is about? It's about marking that period of your life for who you are through what you want to wear.
For sure.
Yeah.
And striving for a walk-in wardrobe.
That will happen.
It will. Manifestation corner.
Yeah. So what is our poll for this week?
Could it be how have people's styles changed as they've got older? Or do people tell us an outfit they regret?
Oh, and they share pictures of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Or a trend they regret, you know? Like the layering thing.
Yeah. I think color choices is probably my
You used to wear a lot of color.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
No, but that's not a bad thing.
No,
I think you look good.
No, you don't. Stop.
No, you did.
Yeah.
I also probably think that because my main memory of you from at school is just in our bright blue tracksuit. Like all the time. You just used to wear your tracksuit bottoms.
We used to wear the PE tracksuit a lot. It was all right though.
It was cool. I feel really sad. I don't think I have my jumper anymore. And I still think that'd be a cool jumper to wear. Probably wouldn't fit quite right, but
yeah.
It
was all right. So most regrettable outfits or trends that you followed.
Yeah.
I like that one. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Style Over Substance, guys.
Don't forget to check out our Instagram or Spotify to respond to this week's poll.
Bye.
Bye.